All right, we're live. When the hoag's away, the mice will play. Welcome to the Coach's Playbook for the 22nd. We're in the fall, and today we want to talk a little bit more about money management because that's what trading is, and specifically when, why, and how to pay yourself by taking withdrawals, no matter what account you're in. If you're doing something with the trading combine or if you have your own brokerage account, we constantly talk about how you want to treat this like a business. And just like any other business, you need to kind of know where your asset allocation is and make sure that it's in line with what you're trying to do. So I think we'll kick it over first to our risk manager, who is Mick. And he has a trader shout out and also some pretty good advice on this topic.
Thank you, Jack. Definitely have a nice shout out today. Jose De Los Rios up over 1,000, trading the NASDAQ today. Keep up the good work. It's a good, healthy account balance he's been building. Withdrawals, I mean, I'm happy we're talking about it because it's why people get into this business. You get into this business to make money, not watch money, get made and then get put back into the markets. You're here to take money out of the markets. So that's why we're here. As far as why you should be taking withdrawals, when you should be taking withdrawals, and how you should be taking withdrawals, you think about this. Ideally, you'd want to treat it as it were any other job. You're running a business now, trading for yourself, but you want to take withdrawals on a regular basis, frequently. Some people want to get paid once a week, once every 2 weeks, once a month. I'm in the camp where every 2 weeks or once a month is pretty reasonable. And I think a lot of people, you see the big P&L swings that you can have while you're trading. I think, a $200 withdrawal, if you're, profitable during a week is respectable, regardless of what your account size is. You're here to pay yourself. You're here to take money out of the markets. I think why we need to be withdrawing funds is, I know Jack's going to talk a little bit about more about, or someone here is going to talk more about, what percentage of your assets do you want to maintain in a futures trade, a highly leveraged futures trading account. But I think, you want to maintain a certain account balance based off of what your risk is. If you're trading a $100,000 trading account, if you're trading a $10,000 trading account, what you're risking on a daily basis, or what you need to risk on a daily basis for your strategy, is going to play a large role in what you're keeping in that account. Most important thing is you don't want to be risking too much of your account on any, losing trading day. If I have a $10,000 trading account and I lose, and I'm okay losing $1,000 a day, in my personal opinion, that's a huge percentage of your account. It's 10% of your account. People have losing weeks and losing months in this business, realistically, and
Yes, sir.
risking a large percentage of your account is very unsustainable. I have some people that get very excited when they start off in the funded account. These are the big 150K accounts that have a $4,500 max drawdown, and on day one they might lose $2,500. And it kills me when I see that, because sure, you're within your daily loss limit. However, you just lost over 50% of your overall account cushion. How are you going to sustain this account if you're okay losing half of your account in one trading day? So that's something you really need to think about. I think you need to let your risk tolerance dictate how much you're risking during the day. And these withdrawals, they help with your money management. If I'm coming into the end of a 2 week period where I normally like to pay myself, and I'm up $500 over my account maintenance level, I might pass on a trade late in the afternoon. So I'm ensuring that I can take that $500 withdrawal, if it's a marginal trade. It's your job to, make money on a weekly basis as a trader. So I think it helps with the money management. Once you start taking money out, you realize it's tangible. You can hold it. It's not just a number on a computer screen. That was a big problem I had with when I started trading. I'd see big swings, up and down. But until I started withdrawing money on a regular basis, it was a number on a computer screen, and I didn't value the number on the screen that I was looking at.
Yeah, and before I kick it over and do my spiel, make you bring up an important mathematical point, which is that if you lose half your account, then you got to make 100% to get it back. Losing money can really put you in a hole like that, where you have to make a whole lot more to get back, even though it doesn't seem like it in nominal terms.
Yeah.
And before I,
Financial hole and psychological hole too.
oh yeah, it's funny how
Messes
those
with you.
things go hand in hand often. So, JD, Dan, you got anything you want to add before I kind of go into my percentage spiel here?
Yeah, sure. I'll throw something out there. I really think when you're starting out and you're trying to put together, or you're trying to put a trading plan or your business plan into practice, I always kind of felt it was important to consistently start each month with a default account balance. I think it just makes it a little easier to know exactly where your daily, weekly, and monthly drawdown levels are as soon as you start off the month. So, for example, if you have $10,000 in your trading account, I also think you should have some reserve capital. So, whatever your initial balance is, you should have double that in reserve. It just makes sense. So let's say on a 10K account, you're willing to risk 2,500 a week, knowing that you have that reserve capital. And maybe if you hit your 40% drawdown in the first 2 weeks, then you spend the rest of the month, you take a step back and you try and reevaluate. So I think it's important from sort of a psychological standpoint. When you're having a good month, you feel great about taking some money out. I mean, we all know the only thing better than really watching your trading account grow is watching your bank account grow. And if you're coming off a bad month, it's good to refill that account so you feel like you're getting a fresh start when you see that new balance start right away. It can make a huge difference, just knowing that you're starting with a clean slate instead of that feeling, like you said, Jack, when you're in the hole, like this month I need to get my account balance back to X amount of dollars. Thoughts like that can be very taxing on a day trader, and they most often lead to bad trading decisions. So I think it's important to update your account balance at least once a month at the end of every month. Take some money out if you're up a little and get that minimum account balance back if you're down a little.
Yeah, that's good advice, JD. Dan, you have anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we're all here to make money. That's what's fun about this. That's what's exciting. It leads to opportunity. And, a lot of people, when they get started into trading, they're running two jobs. This is kind of that secondary thing until they can start to create that opportunity to drop the last job and then make this a full-time gig. And that's kind of, I think, the goal for a lot of people. And the best part about trading is you can be your own boss in a sense. And so if you can start to pay yourself, you can start to establish a little bit of a cushion where you can start to grow this and start to actually get paid regularly, make this a real job, go out and treat yourself. I mean, that's what this is all about, is making that capital, using it to support your lifestyle, then to improve your lifestyle. That's what it's all about. And it's, Mick and JD, you guys touched on it really well. Taking it out at certain times, maintaining a certain balance so you can continue to grow that account. And over time, like JD's saying, if you start with 10K, maybe that 10K is where you start for the first year and a half, and you're taking out a couple $1,000s every month. And you realize, hey, you've created this consistency at that point. Now I'm going to grow this account. I'm going to start with 20,000 in that account every month. And I've adjusted how I can kind of grow this account balance. And each month I can pull a little bit out, and it's going to grow a little bit bigger, a little bit bigger. Maybe every year you're going to start to create bigger wealth. And eventually you're going to be at a point where you've got a ton of money there and you're able to spend it on yourself. And that's what it's about. Spend it, have some fun with it, treat your family, your friends, vacations. That's what this is about, really. I mean, you guys, I love my vacations. I love taking time off. I spend my money pretty frivolously sometimes, and because I enjoy it, and that's what it's there for. And we want to be able to do that for ourselves.
That's a good point. Well, now's my opportunity to go Susie Orman on all your asses out there. Here's the point. I think we all agree that when it comes to discretionary trading accounts, leveraged trading accounts, is that this has to be some percentage of your overall portfolio of assets, right? And it's got to be something that you're willing to lose, because if you are depending on it, that's a rough place to be. So here's what I would suggest. The percent is going to be different for everyone. I have a percent of my portfolio that I'm willing to put into more, shall we say, risky trades. All right. That's me. You might have a different one. My point is that as that grows or decreases, you should at least be aware of what that percent is. What we see sometimes is if people build up a big number in that account, um, until it hits your bank account, it's just more dry powder for trading around. And I don't think it really, I don't think it hits you that that's a lot of money, right? I think that just like JD talked about adding money to start with a default balance, I think that you have to look at rebalancing sort of like major funds do, right? If they hold bonds and stocks and the stocks are way up one quarter and the bonds are down, well, then they take some money out of the stocks at the end of the quarter and they put them in the bonds so that they're back in line with what their plan was. So you got to have a strategy, not only in your trading, but I think from a personal finance end, you have to have a strategy of what you're doing to put yourself in the best position to be, more than financially solvent, to be like thriving financially going forward. So that would be my tip to everyone. Because I saw people when I was working at the prop shops, you'd see people who had a very large amount of their net worth tied up in, I forget what we even call them now, reserve accounts with the firm, right? So that you could trade bigger, so you could do all these things. But until you get that money, it can go down, right? It's what you made one year. You need to take enough of that out to have something in case, the S hits the fan, so to speak. So that would just be my advice for everyone out there.
Yeah, I think that's good advice. I can't help but go back to Danny, talking about, spending money and, living a nice lifestyle, which is just fine. I do know some horror stories of people who had made, significantly, just very, very good livings. And, they spent money like it was never going to end. And then all of a sudden it ended. This is mainly talking about, people I know, and stories I've heard from the transition from the old trading pits to the screen. It was difficult for transition for people, but you had people that, made lots of money on an annual basis, never thought it was going to end. All of a sudden it ended. They can't maintain these lifestyles anymore. So, store some of your nuts, as they say. That's always very important.
Because when people are doing the best, the horror stories come where people project like things are never going to change. And I saw people, this wasn't just the transition too. I saw people at firms who they treated, say, we'll just pick a year, like 2012 or something. Like they killed it that year. And then they're going to buy a $60,000 watch when they live in, a 1-bedroom apartment. Right. And, if you ask me, like, that's a really dumb thing to do. It's like, well, it's going to be 2012 every year, right? At this rate, it's not going to matter. I could buy all the watches I want. I could have a 2-bedroom
You always
apartment.
have to maintain that reserve. It's because, you do, like Mick points out here, there are many, many stories about guys who, did huge years for 10, maybe 12 years. And then all of a sudden it dried up. And if you don't have that reserve, if you don't have that balance, like Jack's talking about, combining all of this stuff, when you spend it, it's going to be completely gone. So you've got to have maintained some sort of safety net. You have to control it across all aspects. When I joke about spending frivolously, it's not like every penny I make, I spend. I want to be clear about that.
I want to be clear. I wasn't implying that. I know you don't.
No,
fur coats and Maseratis,
like, right?
Like
my Apple Watch and my $12 shirts.
It's part of your image, man.
At the end of the day, it's you. The reason I say that is you do want to use this money. I hate when people keep it in that account, and like Jack said, it's just more ammo sitting there that they can continue to fire instead of spending something on themselves. That's at the end of the day, that's what this is about. If you're in this and doing it part-time and you can grow that account balance, and maybe once a year you can take the family on a big vacation, or you can pay off, you can make enough money every month to cover the mortgage, something simple like that. If you can start to pull some of this money out to make your life a little bit more enjoyable, maybe a little bit easier, it's going to help kind of create that realistic viewpoint of this, this money, making that stuff tangible. And that's what you have to do to really start to take advantage of what we're doing.
Yeah, I think it's very important to take care of yourself and treat yourself and do nice things for yourself. I always found on losing days, on my winning days, I kind of was, happy about holding on to the money. On losing days is when I would be like, it was a bad day. I'm going to take myself out to a nice lunch or a nice dinner. I treated myself good on those bad days. This kind of discussion makes me want to just mention one more thing, and then I'll zip it for the rest of the video, because I feel like I've been, spitting out a lot of wind here. When you find yourself having a day with windfall profits, I think it's very important to take a good percentage of that, those windfall profits out, if not all of them. We talked about, you might maintain a 10,000 account balance, and then eventually, you make it a 20,000 account balance that you maintain. That's good. If you find yourself having windfall profits where you really catch the tiger by the tail, really think about taking some of that money out and not having it exposed as risk capital in your account.
Yeah, I think that's really good advice. I mean, you guys know, I think out there when you get away with one in the trades. It happens from time to time.
Yeah, you get lucky.
And you don't talk about it. You just keep your mouth shut on that one. Like,
yeah,
just,
but
I'm not going to talk about this.
I wouldn't treat them the same way, if your spreader goes down or something and you're locked in a trade and make a bunch of money. I'm not saying that ever happened to me, but I would treat it a different way, right? Then
I got locked out one time. I had a position on, and my computer just exploded. I was on the floor, and then we had a rush. I've never run from the trading floor up to the 21st floor that fast. I've never begged for an elevator that much. And I got up there and I powered up the computer upstairs, and well, I was in the money, and I kind of sat there and I just clicked close that position, and I didn't say anything. I just kind of sat there for about 10 or 15 minutes before I was like, yes!
Time to buy yourself a nice fish sandwich.
I didn't say a word. We talked about it after the fact, but I was like, hey, that was all accidental. That was not part of my play, but man, did I get lucky.
Yeah. I mean, you'll accidentally make some money sometime, or just, when it happens. You, the trader, in the back of your mind, when fortune has shined on you, let's just say. But yeah, I think, does anyone else have something else to continue on with this here? But I think we've covered sort of the bases, right?
Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to Prima, Charles, Nick, and Michael for joining us here today.
Oh, nice. Hello to all of you. And Dan, I heard you have a club banger of a quote that you wanted to throw out.
Yeah, this one comes from the Snoop Dogg himself. Make money, money, make money, money.
Calvin Brodus.
I had to.
Yeah, this is where we need the intern to come in with the sound effects.
Right? Well, I thought about just playing the music in the background, but then I was like, there's probably some copyright there, so I'll just sing it myself.
There you go.
So that's what I got.
Oh, that was the quote?
Yeah.
I thought you were just introducing Snoop Dogg. No, I like that. That's right on.
That's the quote from Snoop Dogg for today.
All right. Well, I guess it's about time to wrap this up and wait a few hours before we go sip on some gin and juice, y'all. Since Hoag's not here this week, I guess it falls upon myself to take the bulls by the horn and say, trade well, everyone. Be prudent with your money. Pay yourself. Do what Snoop Dogg says sometimes. Do 70% of what Snoop Dogg says. And we'll see you next week with a new topic. We'll talk to you later. Ta-ta.